Former eThekwini Mayor Zandile Gumede has been sworn in at the KwaZulu-Natal legislature. You may remember she was forced to step down from the mayorship in light of criminal charges for fraud and corruption, which she still faces. She now replaces the late MPL Ricardo Mthembu of the ANC, who passed away from COVID-19 in July. Gumede is expected back in court next month. For more on this, I'm joined by ANC KZN's provincial spokesperson, Ntombela. Good afternoon, Mr. Ntombela. So the circumstances around the swearing in of Zandile Gumede, it came out of the blue. Not many people expected it. People thought, she's still going through the trials and basically had been removed as mayor, and the ANC was allowing due process to play itself out. It suggests that you are satisfied that she did nothing wrong.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity. Let us clarify that as the ANC, one, we believe on the principle of innocence until proven guilty. So we have not yet concluded on whether she is guilty or not on the matters she is facing. That is the first point you must address.
All right.
But secondly, the reason why we thought as an organ should be proper to deploy her in the legislature. You would know that it's almost a year now it has gone by with her case in court, and for a variety of reasons it has been postponed without proceeding for reasons we can't explain on behalf of the NPA. But as an organization, we thought that would be best to remove her in a eThekwini metro to ensure the stability of that municipality, but at the same time ensuring that her skills can be utilized in the other level of the organization without casting aspersions on her innocence or otherwise. So there is a due process of the court which is still unfolding as we speak.
So let's address the issue of innocent until proven guilty, Ntombela, which is, that presumption that's always there in terms of just and fair processes before the courts. You do recall, though, that you as the ANC took some resolutions at Nasrec at your conference in 2017 that include, one of four major actions that you said you would take around corruption. One of them was talking about summarily suspend people who fail to give an acceptable explanation or to voluntarily step down while they face disciplinary, investigative, or prosecutorial procedures, and publicly dissociate the ANC from anyone, whether business, donor, supporter, or member, accused of corruption or reported to be involved in corruption. You're not dissociating yourselves from Zandile Gumede by appointing her to be an MPL.
Not necessarily. We agree with the conference resolution and we affirm on those conference resolutions. As one is saying, Chula Sizwe, what is key for us to say that how do we ensure that the eThekwini municipality function without any issues which might be casting aspersion on its functionality or for any other reason. Hence was thought that it would be best ideal that the process, as we all are aware, I think that's almost a year, her case has been unfolding in the court of law. And we, for a variety of reasons, we can't explain ourselves. The NPA has not been able to proceed with the charges.
But you know that criminal trials do take long, though, Ntombela, and I don't know why you keep raising this issue about the delays in the case. What, did the ANC expect that Zandile Gumede would be the exception to the norm, that she would be charged and within 3 months it would be done and she would be cleared and you could appoint her?
I'm explaining the reasons of the court process, that there is a court process which has been delayed. But as an organization of paramount importance for us, how to ensure the stability of the eThekwini metro and for it to function optimally as expected. It was best for us to remove her in that space of operation, at least that when as we move forward. We think that she can best do her work at the legislature level, not determining whether she is innocent or not. I mean, that is for the process to finalize, can't be for us to determine and finalize an organization.
So given the stance you have taken around deploying her to the provincial legislature, will you still have any moral authority to even call on anyone else accused of major corruption? Here we're talking about some 208 million rand in as far as the eThekwini wastewater projects tenders are concerned, with many other accused, of course, being investigated. Will you have any moral authority to say to anyone they should step aside while they're being investigated or are facing charges? Because these are active charges that are being investigated. It's matters before courts.
Yes, we will do so.
How so?
If you will recall, if you will check recently as an ANC in the province, we have taken action on some of our mayors and our speakers where they've been found wrong on the things they're doing. For example, when you speak of how we recall the mayor of Upongolo, how we recall the speaker of Umgeni, those are instances wherein we found that they are not able to work within the collective of leadership they have been deployed on, and that was impacting on the optimal functionality of those municipalities. So for any other reason, if there are such conclusive matters, the ANC will have to take action on the same matter, including the matter of Comrade Zandile Gumede. But as things stand now,
the adjective you use, conclusive, the adjective conclusive that you use, sorry to chip in there, the adjective you use, conclusive, suggests that in the case of these other mayors and speakers and the chief whip, and I did see your statement about the other municipalities, you believed that there was conclusive sort of issues that they were facing. So the issues around Zandile Gumede are not weighty enough for you? The fact that the NPA has felt that they have a case to proceed with, doesn't that render that to be a weighty enough matter for you to act in line with your own policy resolutions, conference resolutions as the ANC? We didn't ask you to make these promises as the ANC. You made these promises yourselves in light of your performances at the polls, and at your conference you set and decided this is what you would do going forward, and you're failing to do it.
I think, as I'm saying, that the key thing for us of focus was that eThekwini is the only metro we have in the province. How do we ensure its stability and functionality without any issues that might be clouded on its functionality? That's the first part we have to deal with. The second part we have to deal with is that Comrade Zandile is still a member of the ANC, is still a leader of the ANC, although facing charges. There is nothing at this stage conclusively saying that she has been found guilty. So as an organization, we can't throw her away.
Your resolutions don't talk about people being found guilty. Your resolutions, as I read them out, say that people facing serious allegations of corruption, the ANC should dissociate itself from those people and basically calls for people to step aside. It's your resolutions.
Yes, that I'm not denying, Cholasis. That I'm not denying. It's a resolution of the ANC. But as I was saying, that in the circumstances we are facing in this matter as a province, there are decisions where to take to say how do we handle this matter and how do we take it forward. We could not have just been putting it on suspense for a very long period of time. Hence, we thought that the best option at this stage that we deploy her in the legislature while we allow all these other processes to unfold. She goes there as a member of the legislature.
So what are
these responsibility?
What are these particular skills that Zandile Gumede has that you feel you are missing out on while you know she's facing these trials and you know had stepped aside and basically had been removed as mayor? These skills that you simply cannot wait for due process to play out for you to then use in the provincial legislature. What makes it indispensable such that basically you would risk the perception that you were worried about when you wrote the resolutions in 2017, you'd rather risk that because Zandile Gumede is so integral and she has such skills that we need and we need to use them now?
The key thing, I think, as an organization, we take into cognizance how do we maximize the unity of the organization? How do we ensure that, notwithstanding the challenges the comrade is facing, she can still play a role within the collective of the organization. Hopefully, the processes of the court will conclude their matters at their own time. But
Let me suggest to you then, Nhlakani Pontombela. Let me suggest to you
we must also work towards
yes.
preparing for the local government election. Those are the factors you take into cognizance as an organization also.
Right. Let me suggest to you then, as a parting shot from me, that the answer you just gave me about considerations of the unity of the organization is the most honest answer you've given in this entire interview about what the considerations were around reinstating, deploying Zandile Gumede as a member of the provincial legislature, despite it patently going completely against your resolutions and your earlier judgment around the suitability of having her serving as a public office bearer. Unity trumped every other thing, every other consideration.
It is one of the imperatives.
It is the trump of all the other imperatives.
No, it does not trump everything, Thulasizwe. As we are saying, that she's still facing criminal charges. That we cannot deny. That process is still proceeding at its own level, its own pace, at a court of law. The court of law will make a judgment on that. It can't be us as an organization who make a judgment on conclusion of that.
Yeah, no one is asking you to make a judgment around court matters. And even in the framing of your own resolution from NASREC, you did acknowledge the principle of the presumption of innocence until proven guilty when there are court proceedings and when someone is being taken through the courts. You acknowledged that that's always been there and coexisting with this resolution that you took. Nevertheless, let me ask you again, has Zandile Gumede been held before the Provincial Integrity Committee?
Not at this stage.
My goodness. So she's not even had to explain herself at the Provincial Integrity Committee as called for again by your own resolution?
The process at this stage, I'm sure you were aware that one eThekwini went to disband the RSV, of which she was the chairperson. That was a starting point. Then we had to put up a task team to deal with the matters of reconfiguring the organization. The other aspect alluded to, those are the processes which we must pursue as an organ as we move forward. It is indeed true that at this stage, she has not been summoned to the Provincial Integrity Committee.
Doesn't make sense, does it, Nhlakani Pontombela? It doesn't make sense that she's not even at the very least been asked to explain. In fact, I will open this up again and read it again from your conference resolutions about people. The first line of the 4 major actions around corruption, you resolved that you would, 1, demand that every cadre accused of or reported to be involved in corrupt practices accounts to the Integrity Committee immediately or faces disciplinary committee processes. And if she hasn't done that, would you accept if I say to you it makes no sense that she's not had to at least, at the very least, account to the Integrity Committee of the ANC?
Those are structural lapses within the organization, not her own fault. It is us as an organization on those processes we have delayed. That I agree with. Hence, I'm saying that as an organization in KZN, we have agreed on a process of saying, let us work on renewal of the organization, the unit of organization. As part of that renewal of the organization, the unit of organization requires that some members, where they have digressed, they have done something wrong, they also must appear before the Integrity Committee. It's one thing we've agreed on as a province, that we must ensure that our Provincial Integrity Committee is functional so that there are a number of matters they should have handled by now, which they have not done so.
All right. Thank you so much for your time and your indulgence there and answering my questions. Nhlakani Pontombela joining us there, talking on behalf of the Provincial Executive Committee of the ANC in KwaZulu-Natal. This after the decision has been taken to deploy Zandile Gumede, the former mayor of eThekwini, who faces charges in court, and she's now been deployed as a member of the provincial legislature. Structural lapses is what he's calling them, the inability to take Zandile Gumede at the very least through the ANC's Integrity Committee, which itself has its own questions about its efficacy. But he says there were structural lapses on the part of the organization that have seen her not even having to appear before that committee.